The college football experience, Michigan Wolverines 2024 season preview episode on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network is brought to you by Underdog Fantasy. You can win up to 325 times your entry with their brand new Pick 8 sign up. And when you do, sign up with the promo code TCE SGPN to claim your special pick plus first time deposit offer up to $250 in bonus cash. Yes, they do have college football and college basketball. So hop on over there. UnderdogFantasy.com, promo code TCE SGPN. We're also brought to you by Rhythm. Get the best data-driven props and picks from Rhythm. Claim your free 7-day trial period today by going to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/rhythm. That's RITHMM. That's sportsgamblingpodcast.com/rhythm. And remember, as always, folks, too, let it ride.
Hey, this is Derek Stevens. I'm the owner of Circa Las Vegas. You're listening to SGPN. Let it ride.
To the college football experience. Michigan Wolverines, the reigning national champions, 2024 season preview episode. I know you see a lot of green right now. YouTube.com the college experience. YouTube.com/the college experience. These aren't, that's not state. That's not state. Washington Federals, and we got the Hartford Whalers up there. Mm-hmm. So don't come at us as state fans. I don't want to hear that. But I'm excited to talk about the Wolverines as coming off of a national championship. I obviously they've had a lot of change in the past few months, and we'll see how things go. We're going to talk about the offense, defense, special teams, go game by game on the schedule. But you're probably wondering just who the hell you're listening to first. My name is Colby Swing at Database Dan, aka Pick Dundee. That's not a pick. This is a pick.
He was raised in the land down under, where a man thinks on his feet, speaks with his fists, and lives by his wits.
When Dundee happened, he was a superstar.
I'm probably drinking too much and celebrating too much and not sleeping. Would have killed a normal man, but no, that's gone. The medical advice I got from that was like being hit by lightning. Pretend it never happened and get on with your life.
Woo! I mean, they're at the top of the mountain right now. They beat the arch rivals 3 straight times. They got Ryan Day just on the hot seat. Their Ohio State Collective put out, I don't know, they went out and bought the highest paid roster money could buy. Just, this is how it goes, right? When the rival's up. I am joined by my co-host. Give it up for the host of the Bottom Line Bombs podcast, which you should be subscribed to. Give it up for Scumbagger Vance, a.k.a. the Bet Detective, CJ Sullivan. How you doing, pal?
Good. And if you notice, I I added one just for today. Obviously, I like to personalize them. Tyrone Meatley. I put in there.
Ooh, I like that. I like that. Old Tyrone Meatley here.
Yes.
And Tim Biakabatuka.
Love those Michigan backs.
Yeah, Gary Moeller. They had Lloyd Carr. I think it was the Moeller era that had that. Or maybe
David Terrell, one of my favorite Michigan Wolverines. Great wide receiver.
I was always a Greg McMurtry guy back in the day, and obviously Desmond Howard and stuff. But look,
I love when Terrell punted the ball into the stands, through the end zone, through the stands, out of frustration, but love celebration as well. But yeah, Michigan Wolverine champions, a lot of turnover, but they still have pieces in place.
Yeah, they still do, and I mean, look, I think I think this is appropriate for the 2024 season.
I think tide turning. As I remember, I was raised in the desert, but tides kind of turn. It's easy to see a tide turn.
Raised in the desert.
Did I say those words?
George W. saying it's easy to see a tide turn. And now you see this tide turn. Jim Harbaugh leaves for the NFL. Well, I don't know if he truly wanted to go to the NFL or he was looking at a 10-game suspension or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. He's at the Comedy Store last night.
Really?
Yeah. Jimmy Harbaugh.
There we go. Get on out there. All right. Who's he with? Just solo? He was with the wife, bringing the team? No.
You don't bring the wife to the Comedy Store. That's for the girlfriends. Come on now. Harbaugh knows what he's doing.
Yeah, it was a shock. I thought it's a mistake.
Yeah, I don't know, but look, it's big time year. Big time year. I haven't done a deep dive on football coaches to show up to comedy clubs, but I need to. Folks,
he's enjoying LA is what I'm trying to say.
He's living at a Winnebago in Huntington Beach. All right. He's like Mel Gibson and Lethal Weapon over there. So yeah, kudos to Captain Comeback there. Look, we're going to talk about the offense, defense, special teams, the hire, what they decided to do. But before we do that, I want to tell you that the Michigan Wolverines season preview episode on the College Football Experience is part of the Sports Gambling Podcast Network, and you want to check out the latest episode of SGP Stories is out on Patreon, and the guys, myself, Stacking the Money Green, and Ryan Real Money Kramer from the Sports Gambling Podcast. We do a Forensic Files style deep dive on the Bobby Petrino motorcycle accident that cost him his job. I may or may have not been in an Arkansas jacket with a neck brace and a Sugar Bowl hat on. You'll have to check it out. Also, please make sure to check out the WNBA Gambling Podcast, as Terrell and Scott have started out red hot with their locks over there. But check all that out. SGPN. All right. Remember, as always, folks, to let it ride. All right. Back talking Wolverine football here. So yeah, Harbaugh's off, rides off into the sunset. Sherrone Moore, who you could argue was a national championship coach last year as a head coach, because he coached 4 games. I mean, I don't know. I mean, but those were big games. He beat Ohio State.
Mm-hmm.
He also won at Penn State, and then Maryland was an 8-win team. Sure, Bowling Green sucks, but okay. 4-0 as a head coach of the Wolverines. His coaching tree is Jim Harbaugh, obviously, John Bonamigo, Charlie Strong, and he played under Bob Stoops at Oklahoma. Where are you at with this hire? Were you surprised, or it makes sense after he cried on TV, right?
I mean, after that press conference, Sherrone Moore knew exactly what he was doing.
Gotta play the game. Gotta play the game.
Coach Harbaugh, I fucking love these guys. All right, sure, relax here. Let's take it easy. I mean, I love him. I love the passion. It's great.
Well, I don't get the brain man.
Oh, I'm sorry, it's Lou Holtz. But yeah, anyway.
Ran the ball, didn't run the ball at all that second half or didn't throw the ball at all versus Penn State. I mean,
love it. Absolutely love it.
Yeah, so that was hilarious. Some would say maybe Jim Harbaugh was on a phone line with him, or at least he was in the building. He was down the hallway. I mean, I know he was at the Four Seasons for the one game at Penn State, but I mean, it'll be interesting to see Sherrone all on his own. I'm rooting for him, that's for sure. He's a likable guy, likable coach. They're going to run the ball a lot more. It's going to be one of those, but there's still some question marks for sure.
Well, yeah, the entire offense, but yeah, I mean, he's got to prove it to us. But hey, 4-0, like we saw this at Stanford when he left. David Shaw took over, and they kept rolling for a few years there.
4-0. Although that Maryland game they could have very easily lost, and they were 22-point favorites. But they got the win. They celebrated. They got their 10,000th win or whatever stat they made up, or Harbaugh would make up for the all-time. We beat Don Bosco High School in New Jersey. Like, he was just making up records.
Who's got it better than us?
Oh my God! Oh, these Harbaughs, I love them.
Look, I've always been a big Harbaugh fan.
Yeah, they're hilarious. Why
the family,
not?
the whole family.
Oh, the whole family is great. The Harbaughs.
I'm a big fan of football families. You know what I mean? With the exception to the Mannings. Big fan. There's a few families out there we could do a deep dive on. But yeah. So I just wonder though, do you think? I know Michigan fans are just still cloud 9 still until that game, the end of the season against Ohio State. They're on cloud 9, but prior to Harbaugh, they went through a dark period there where it was
Oh yeah, I mean it's pretty crazy the turnaround here with what Harbaugh did with him. I mean that's what Harbaugh does; he wins everywhere. But like, I mean, it was just a long run, especially versus Ohio State, of just getting dominated.
Yeah, and not only that, I mean they had embarrassing games. I have your worst losses here since 2000. An Appalachian State game, one of the best college football games. I know Michigan fans don't want to hear that, but that was a fantastic game.
Blocked field goal.
I mean, the Oregon dominance the very next week against them, 39-7, and now Oregon is a conference member. Utah's beaten them 3 times since 2000. Toledo went into the big house and got it done. And then they lost twice to South Carolina. Michigan shouldn't lose to South Carolina ever. Mississippi State beat them 52-14 in a bowl game, and then Kansas State whooped them. So I think the fear, and the reason why I put this up there, we know you won the national championship, all right? And I was actually glad to see them win the national championship. But do you worry that now that you've hit that mountaintop, are you going to go back to those days you were the 15 years prior or the 10 years prior before Jim Harbaugh? What do you make of that?
Well, I mean, if you ask Michigan fans, they're not worried. They always think they're the greatest. You know, they have an airs about them, if you will. They think they're a goddamn Ivy League school up there in Ann Arbor, Michigan. Let me tell you something, Michigan fans. You throw up just like the rest of us in the bushes and been puking before your games out there in your Big Ten. Don't act like your puke don't stink as you fucking stumble around campuses. Anyway, point is, of course, they're going to have a little bit of a fallback just because of all the roster turnover. They're not going to be that elite like they were like there, but they'll still be they'll force to deal with record with and definitely get in the playoffs. So.
Yeah. I mean, I still think, the new Big Ten, obviously Oregon, USC, Washington, UCLA, all coming over. We'll see how it shakes out for them. But, shout out to Cody Frazier. He says he's not worried at all. They're picking up right where they left off. Shout out to the chat once again, youtube.com/the college experience, breaking down all 134 college football teams with a solo podcast for every single team in the land. Let's talk a little bit about this offense from a year ago, because defense wins championships. Because look, you look at this. Okay, the 14th in the nation scoring, per game, 35.9 points per game. And let me tell you, the non-con, my one knock of them winning the national championship last year, because I like Harbaugh. I like the good defensive teams, run first teams. The non-con was a fucking joke.
It was terrible.
It was a fucking joke. They should have had a Power 5 on there. To me, that was pathetic.
It was terrible, and then they got the pass that Florida State does not. Things like that with the whole they did not look good, whatever. But whatever.
Yeah,
it is what it is.
Well, they were second in scoring in the Big Ten a season ago, 5th in yards, which I think is worthy. This is a team that won the national championship. There was 14 teams in the Big Ten a year ago, so almost middle of the pack. Better than middle of the pack, but not by much. And you have Iowa in your conference, so they should be disqualified from the start. 6th best in the Big Ten, so right around the middle of the pack there too. 81st in passing, 54th in rushing, 3rd in the Big Ten. When you look at those numbers, you don't think that's a championship team, right? When you see those offensive numbers,
right? The offensive not prolific, especially in today's day and age. But like you said, they were just a dominant defense. The scheme, the talent, they lost a bunch, but I still think their defense is going to be great.
That's why I feel like they were a breath of fresh air for me. Traditionally, you see like the Alabamas, even Georgia,
right,
and LSU with Burrow, they had the top offense. You know what I mean? You got to be the number one offense. No, Michigan, Jim Harbaugh used a blueprint to me from 20 years ago, 25 years ago, to win this national championship for them. And I thought it was refreshing for the state of football, in my opinion. So that's why I was a fan of them winning the national championship. But yeah, I don't know. I feel like those numbers are shocking though, compared to years past of doing this thing. When you look up the teams that win the national championship, they're normally top 5 in offense. They were not, like I said, in total yards, they were 67th. Normally your top, your national champion is going to be a top 20 offense. So, I dig it, but it's just, you don't see that much these days. You said the offense, look, I put Donovan Edwards as a returning starter. You can question that. I know Blake Corum started, but Edwards has starts in his career at Michigan. Obviously, with Corum's injury the year prior,
Right.
tight end Colston Loveland's back, but only 2 starters back on the offensive side of the ball. How big of a red flag is that for you?
It's huge. I mean, they have a huge turnover. Quarterback, of course, being the most important, having replaced McCarthy, and their wide receivers as well. The wide receivers got decimated, but not just like Portal, but like you said, like the NFL. I mean, the whole damn team went there. That's why they won a national championship. But Donovan Edwards, of course, we gave not only the big championship game, hit our ladder, which we gave out. I gave out the Donovan Edwards ladder, which hit first quarter.
Oh yeah.
We're all over him. I think he's going to have a monster year this year, of course, and along with you don't have it up there, but who's the other one? Khalil Mullins, who played Hassan Hoskins' role. I think they're going to run the ball even more than they did last year because of Sherrone Moore. I mean,
well, he's an offensive coach, so I mean, but
Yeah.
to me, I think that's one of the big questions: is what are they doing at quarterback? Alex Orji is a guy that is kind of like it kind of screams like Tebow-ish to me. You know what I mean?
They compare him to Jalen Monroe. I don't know if I'd go that far, but he's
huge though.
He's dynamic.
Well, I'm saying like he's bigger than Milroe.
Right.
As far as like and that I'm fascinated to see this offense with him. Yes, they still have Jack Tuttle, who I feel like has been at every college in the nation. They also have Davis Warren. So, but I mean, a lot of people have different quarterbacks starting depending on who you ask.
Yeah, they said Jaden Denigal had a good off season.
I figured it was going to be Orji, but I'm excited to see how they use Orji regardless, because I think he is going to get on the field.
Yeah.
But yeah, you're breaking in, new position guys pretty much everywhere.
Yeah, and a lot of people are saying that freshman was it Jalen Davis, their quarterback there.
Yeah,
they said eventually down. I mean, obviously not week 1, but I can see him getting in there just because he's such a talent. Just to see the mix it up. So it's going to be, it's obviously it's a big question mark. It is the biggest question mark is how they replace my quarterback.
Yeah, and look in the portal, they lost. I don't think any of these were that substantial. I mean, maybe you can sell me on Herring to Kansas or Hibner to SMU, but once again, he's behind Loveland, so I'm okay with these losses here. YouTube.com/the college experience.
No, right. The real losses went to the NFL.
Yeah, exactly. Basically. And they did bring in a couple guys, but once again, they brought in Prebe from Northwestern. Now he's a starter. He started in the Big Ten last year. So in a way you could say they have 3 starters back. CJ Charleston coming in from Youngstown State, and then kicker Dominic Zvada coming in from Arkansas State, who's on the schedule. Revenge against his boys. But yeah, I mean, they were pretty conservative in the portal, much like a lot of the national championship teams you see. They don't just go out and just load up. But yeah, I mean, so comparing it to last season, and I'm not talking national championship, but from an offensive production, do you think they can still kind of mimic these numbers? Because I actually think they can. And I actually think there's a chance that they could be even improved in some of these statistical categories, specifically the rushing.
I agree. I believe they will be more efficient rushing the ball, mainly because I think they're going to with the attempts, they're going to run the ball more. They're going to put especially with the question marks and quarterbacks. They got some receivers in there. Their biggest question mark was quarterback. I think their biggest needs was receiver and maybe cornerback on defense, which they didn't really do much in the portal for. But I do think they will improve on running the ball. I think that's going to be huge. They have a ton of running backs as always. Besides Edwards and Mullins, they got Benjamin Hall and Cole Cabana. they just have nonstop.
They're loaded. They're loaded.
They're always loaded. So that I agree with. I think it'll be a very similar style. Run the clock down. Cloud of dust. The whole goddamn thing. I'm sure more. As far as receivers goes, playmakers.
Tyler Morris is one I think they're excited about. Fredrick Moore.
I like that Samaj Morgan, who was a freshman last year. He's gonna have to step up. But everyone else went to the NFL, and I think
Charleston, the kid from Youngstown, maybe that's Al Bundy played there. So Marlin Klein, the other tight end. I know they're excited about him. They utilize the tight end very well. Wherever Harbaugh is. So maybe that's a guy that has a breakthrough season besides Loveland. I don't know. I feel like there are areas of weakness with the wideout spot, but I don't know that you need to have the most amazing wideouts to win
not at all.
Yeah.
My money's on more. Do you see that one play? Michigan always has great playmakers, though, or receivers somewhere. You know, they just always have top something.
Yeah.
My money's on Morgan. He's a fan favorite. I like him.
Yeah. Folks, we're going to talk about the defense side of the ball. But before we do that, I want to tell you that the Michigan preview is brought to you by Underdog Fantasy. Pick 8's now live. Create entries with up to 8 picks, and Underdog will automatically double flex entries so you can miss up to 2 picks and still win your entry. With more picks to make and extra ways to win, the excitement is higher than ever. And the best part, you can win up to 325 times your original amount. You can now use specials and boost on all flexed entries as well. Don't miss your chance to try it out before it's gone. Sign up, and when you do, sign up with the promo code TCE SGPN to claim your special pick plus first time deposit offer up to $250 in bonus cash. Yes, they do have college football. Yes, they do have college basketball. UnderdogFantasy.com, promo code TCE SGPN. We're also brought to you by Circa Survivor and Circa Millions. Yes, Circa Sports is back with Circa Survivor and Circa Millions, giving away $16 million in guaranteed prizes. Of course, Circa contests have no rake. Circa Millions, pick 5 NFL teams ATS each week and compete for $6 million or survive the NFL gauntlet to claim the $10 million prize. Sign up in person at Circa Sports between now and September 7th and use a proxy to play from anywhere. And actually, we have a deal with footballcontestproxy.com to save you $50 with the promo code SGP. So utilize that. If you don't have a trip booked for Vegas yet before football season, may I recommend the Ultimate Contest Weekend? It's a great time to go out. You can hang with the Sports Gambling Podcast guys, Stacking the Money Green and Ryan Real Money Kramer, and enjoy some of the open bar events there at the greatest sports book in the world, August 22nd through August 24th at Circa. All right. Shout out to the chat. Cody Frazier. I know, obviously, the great Noah Beanick, diehard Michigan fan. Shout out to Rolex Dad, who's a Fresno State fan. He goes, "You guys a little worried about week 1?"
Love it. That's not gonna be a cakewalk, that Fresno game. I'll tell you that much.
Yeah. Shout out to Lane Gretzky in the chat. We have too. Tim Green. Just all fantastic stuff.
Tim Green, former defensive end for Falcons.
Oh yeah. I think he's passed away, but yeah.
He did die. He was a writer and all that. So remember?
He was writing novels, like suspense novels, right?
Yeah, that's right.
That's what I'm saying. See, you think all these football guys are squares? Guys, fucking
meatheads.
John Gresham 2.0 over there. All right, I got your fucking rainmaker. All right. The defense was phenomenal. And I think this is something to talk about here. First off, they were first in the nation scoring per game, which is first in the Big Ten, first in yards, second in pass defense, 5th in rush defense. I know the non-con, you could argue, puffed up some of those stats, but still, they were a fire defense. There's a reason why a bunch of them got drafted. Yeah. And they bring in because they lost their DC to the Chargers as well, but Wink Martindale is coming in hot.
Love it.
He runs the same defense that they ran prior. He's actually kind of the godfather of it. And look, he was with John Harbaugh with the Ravens, I believe. I don't know, like 2018-ish, 17-ish, something like that, all the way until I don't know, like COVID. I think I looked it up, but
then he went to the Giants and told then Dable told Dable to go fuck himself, and then
always like that. Probably the smartest thing. Yeah,
right. Absolutely.
Interesting hire, but they're running the same defense. You return some production here. Still not much. 3 returning starters, so we're at a grand total of 5 that were actually starting a season again. Cody Frazier says defense is going to be nasty again. Yes, you are right. And what's hilarious is if you look at these 3, I think 2 of these will be first-round draft picks. Yeah. But Mason Graham back on the defensive line, Will Johnson at the corner spot, Makari Page at the strong safety spot, all back. And they were deep on that D line. So like, okay, Derek Moore and Kenneth Grant. Am I worried about the drop off to them? No, I'm not. Josiah Stewart, who was a beast at Coastal Carolina a couple years ago. They brought in the kid from Nebraska, Hausman, at the linebacker spot. Like they did a great job. And I think the big one in the portal was, well, first off, that's who they lost. They did lose Keon Saab to Alabama, DJ Waller to Kentucky. Cameron Calhoun to the Utah Utes, and what Samaj Bridgman going to Michigan State. What? That just should never happen. Let's be honest. All right. Go to Eastern Michigan, go to Central Michigan, go to Michigan State. Disgusting. All right. Jeremiah Beasley also leaves for Missouri, Hayden Moore to Washington. They brought in Jashawn. I fucked this up. I misspelled his name, I think, but they brought in this guy who's Barham from Maryland. That's a stud, absolute stud. They're super excited about this. Is a guy that had like 10 sacks with somewhere right around there. It was in 9.5, I think, in College Park there. And I know he's a projected first round draft pick. So the defense got stronger, certainly with some of these additions. Wesley Walker, not to be confused with the old New York Jet with Ken O'Brien. He's a really good safety for Louisville coming over. He's projected to start for Michigan. Ricky Johnson coming in from a good UNLV team. Amir Hall, Albany. Don't sleep on the Great Danes. If you watched Florida State's undefeated regular season, their best defensive player was an Albany transfer. And Jaden Mangum coming over from Michigan State. What? The hell's going on here? Thought you guys supposed to be rivals. You guys, what's going on? I don't like this. But how do you think the defense will be this year, man?
Like I said, they should still be great because they're going to run the same scheme. That scheme is what it does. I mean, they'll have talent. They, much like the offense, they lost a ton of players, not to the portal, but to the pros. I mean, Colston, Jenkins, Wallace, Sainstro, Barrett, up and down the line, just talent. But like you said, they have more talent coming in. They're just going to reload. And I like Wink coming down there running that same scheme they did. And I think they could possibly, and I know this is saying something with Iowa in there, they could still have the best defense in the conference.
Yeah, I lean Iowa, but certainly if you're right behind Iowa,
yeah,
you're going to have a fire defense. But yeah, I mean, it makes for an interesting season because I think we all write off with all these, just the human nature of it, for a champ repeating, but also for that much turnover. You're just,
it's just so much turnover, but
that's what I'm saying.
Fun. Yeah.
But that's what makes it fascinating here is like the defense. If you're telling me there's 3 projected first round picks on this defense right now, that means that defense is going to be incredibly good. And then the offensive side of the ball, you're still running the same stuff. Everyone's familiar with the offense. Donovan Edwards still there. Loveland still there. I don't know. I mean, the offensive line got some inexperience, but still they're highly touted guys. I don't know. I mean, let's talk about the win total. But before I do that, I want to tell you that the Michigan Wolverines 2024 season preview is brought to you by Rhythm. If you're betting on player props, you need to download Rhythm. Rhythm is the go-to sports betting tool that transforms complex data into actionable insights, empowering bettors with smarter, data-driven decisions. Unlike other platforms, Rhythm combines advanced predictive analytics with an intuitive user experience, making betting both easy and enjoyable. Rhythm's predictive models were born from the brains of MIT data scientists and quants with over 3 years of data that help drive you to better AI-backed betting decisions. So what are you doing, folks? Claim your free 7-day trial period today by going to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/rhythm. That's RITHMM. That's sportsgamblingpodcast.com/rhythm. All right, back talking Wolverine football. And if you're wondering what that win total is,
I'm wondering.
It's sitting there at 9 wins. And I think one of the shocking things is it's juiced to the under. So like, so if you're thinking over 9 wins, that's plus 115. And it is under's minus 135. So Vegas is basically saying they expect them to be, they think 8-4 is more likely than 10-2. Where are you at with that assessment?
Well, just coming in without even taking a deep dive into the schedule. Obviously, they take on all the what is it, an 18-team fucking conference now, Big Ten, with all these
it's fucking bigger than the NFC.
Yeah, it's hilarious.
What are we doing here?
They drop Penn State, I know that, but they also add obviously Oregon and USC and Texas and all these things. So it's going to be loaded, the schedule. And quarterback question mark. Sherrone Moore is a question mark. The whole coaching staff. I mean, these are question marks where you would lose games that were close. Now, last year, games were not close. They were just dominant. So they still have that in place. So I'll have to get into the schedule to find out which way I go. I think 9 looks like a pretty good number.
They're plus 600 to win the Big Ten championship. To make the 12-team playoff, plus 115. To not make it, it's minus 145. To win the Natty, they're plus 2,500. Look, I kind of think if you're going to bet any of these blindly without us, we're going to go game by game on the schedule in a minute, but
yeah,
give me the yes to make the 12-team playoff at plus 115.
Yeah, it's a solid play for sure. Because if they're even close and they pull off any of these marquee victories, which they have a bunch on their schedule,
and why would you even play the over? So if the over. I'm sorry. No, okay, the over is plus 115, so they're covering their ass with that. Because you could technically go 9-3 and miss the playoffs. I don't know. I still think the 12 team, if they won the national championship last year, they're gonna want to put them in if they're 9-3.
Right, I agree. I'd rather play make the playoffs than over 9 wins. Because if they go 10-2, they're in the playoffs.
Yeah.
And there's a chance they do at 9-3.
Yeah, and Noah Beanick reminding us that they have a senior class that's going for the senior sweep against Ohio State. Michigan isn't losing Thanksgiving weekend. Woo, woo, woo,
that's all Noah knows.
Rumors on the internets.
Well, if they got a senior class going for the senior sweep,
I don't get
the old
but they're
senior
counting down
sweep.
7-6.
Why even play the game? Put that on the board. All right, so we already got 1 win. Ohio State's a lock. Senior sweep weekend, Thanksgiving.
Yeah, and Keon Saab barely played last year. He said he was and this is a good point. He says he was their spring game MVP for defense, but also Kalen Bauer not known for his defense. But yes, Bama historically is.
That's what I'm talking about with the Michigan fans. They're already right. Yeah, they have no absolute humbleness in them whatsoever. Shout out to Noah, but all right. But you're all right. The secondary is going to be outstanding. See, I thought the D-backs were a need coming into this season. So,
you think Noah could be the next Connor Stallions?
That would be amazing. I mean, he should shoot above Connor Stallions, but he could definitely get in disguise and slip into those he could slip into any sideline for sure with those glasses.
I wonder if he has any Central Michigan gear in that closet of his. Maybe a fake mustache or two.
How deep would he go? Would he put on a Sparty gear though, or would that make him rot from the inside?
Yeah, I think it might make him rot. I think we got to choose. We got to have him get creative. Go to maybe the Maryland game. You know what I mean? Like I think
absolutely.
The Sparty one is a little too much.
Right.
But so the win total sitting at 9. The schedule, the thing that jumps out to me, first off, thank God you actually played a Power 5 in the non-con. You fucking bums last year. Look, I love Harbaugh, but that was bullshit.
That was terrible what they did last year, but they make up for it this year because this schedule is very difficult.
And well, the one thing I will say though, this schedule is difficult, but it's also very kind for the road games.
Okay.
Week 1, they are home to Jeff Tedford and Fresno State. Go listen to our Fresno State preview. It's out there. I do think if Michigan, it's a good tune-up game for Texas because Fresno's got some guys that I do think will be in the NFL. So to get you ready for Texas, this isn't Bowling Green where you're just going to have to go, Fresno State's a good team that could end up in that. It actually could end up in the 12-team playoff. Now that we have this 12-team playoff, I would say they're one of the top. If you told me like, hey, who are the top 3 to 4 teams that you'd say will be competing for that playoff spot? My first thought would be Boise State. My second would probably be Memphis. Third would be Fresno, and fourth would be Liberty. So they're there. That could be something. But we got to beat Fresno because it's at the big house. I feel like the physicality of Michigan on the line of scrimmage will be a little bit too much for Fresno, but I do think Fresno can strike some fear in them.
Yes, absolutely. Oh, absolutely. I mean, Michigan, their last 3 home openers have been blowouts. They played Western Michigan, your ECU Pirates, Colorado State, but this is not going to be easy.
This is by far the best of any of those teams.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Although I do like your Pirates this year. But point is, the defense will be too much stifling. As much as the quarterback, question mark coming into the first game. If it's Alex Orji, it'd probably be a slow start. I don't think they're going to start out hot, but the defense will just stifle them up. I see them locking this game up like 28-6 kind of thing.
And then week 2, we get big time game.
Yes.
The Texas Longhorns coming into the big house. They were originally supposed to go to Austin this year. They flipped this around. I forget how they ended up doing that. So for some reason, they flipped it around. I'm all over the place on this one. I favor Texas because of, the unknown on the Michigan offense. But at the same time, Ewers played 7 backup quarterbacks last year. Like Texas, were they really that good, or did they just get a great schedule? Because they never even had the lead in that Washington game. If anything, they kind of dressed it up a little bit. I'm going to say Texas gets them, though. I think Texas on the line of scrimmage. I think Texas has the best offensive line in the country this year, right?
Yeah. If this was at Texas as being autoplay, I wouldn't even think too hard about it.
But Texas needs to kind of prove it to me after
that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I mean, this is gonna be a rocking big house here in Michigan, I mean, and they're gonna have a nice little test versus Fresno. Fresno's very talented, so they're gonna come into this in some kind of condition. Texas might not, this might be Texas's actual first game footage, and they're gonna be Ewers and questionable on the road. So
I think that's a huge game for the new Big Ten versus SEC thing, because the SEC fans. Even the Oklahoma fans will be touting, and A&M fans, but SEC.
This is a coin flip as much as I can judge a coin. Say it's a coin flip. This literally is a 50-50 game for me. I don't trust Texas on the road. I don't trust Ewers.
I don't trust Steve Sarkisian in big games. But
but I also don't know if I trust Sherrone Moore either.
Yeah, well, I just don't know what this offense,
and what this quarterback's and what this quarterback's going to be with Orji out there. But their rush and their defense, I want to say Michigan gets this game. Make it 2-0.
Oh, I got them 1-1, but like I said, I do think it's a field goal game. Wouldn't shock me if Michigan got that. Then Butch Jones and Arkansas State come to town. No, they're horrible. I mean, I know they ended up going to a bowl game, but I'm not buying. I don't think he's a very good coach. So,
Arkansas State wasn't even 500 last year, right?
Yeah. Oh, they got to a bowl though when they made the quarterback switch. They just had an easy schedule though. They lost 77-0 to Oklahoma in the season opener. So you got them 3-0. I got them 2-1.
Yep.
Then Lincoln Riley and USC come to town. This is one I do think they get. I don't think USC is going to be ready for that physicality. So and shout out to Cody. He says he's got to run because his twins. There you go. Shout out to Cody. Appreciate.
Gender reveal for the twins. Go blue, he says. All right.
Go.
Go blue as he wants boys, or go blue as in Michigan.
Exactly. Right.
Yeah. If it comes out pink, you got to have a poker face there, Cody. You can't be doing it. God damn it. No, I mean, I love it. Yeah. More girls. Great.
Yeah. Shout out to Cody, man. And congratulations, brother.
Yeah.
I got them beating USC. Any chance you're taking the Trojans to win in the big house here?
They have a chance. Absolutely. Now, I mean, Michigan's going to be favored as well as they should be, but with that defense, Lincoln Riley's kind of been a little bit of a disappointment with USC. Losing Caleb Williams is going to be tough, but I think their defense isn't going to be the way the Swiss cheese that it's been. I think USC's going to be a different team this year. And they're going to have some offense. So if it gets into a track meet, this is kind of a tough way to open up the schedule. Although it sets up, like you were saying before, it sets up nicely with Arkansas State the week before, where I bet their starters won't even touch the field in the second half of that game. So it'll be kind of gearing up for this USC game. I'll still give Michigan this game. Let's go 4-0 Michigan.
Yeah, I got him 3-1, and then to me, this is actually one of the if you're looking on YouTube.com, I did power rank the games 1 through 12, and I know I have this as 10, but for the spot, Minnesota is a team under Fleck that I think kind of likes to bang.
Mm-hmm.
So I do think this game could be trickier than the ones we think, like USC and Washington. However, it's in the big house. I will take Michigan to get it done.
Yeah, Minnesota, you know what I mean? PJ Flynn, Flack, I mean, and they brought in that quarterback from New Hampshire, right? This year?
Max Brosmer. Yeah, Max Brosmer coming in.
He was great. Yeah. I loved Max Brosmer up in New Hampshire. So
oh yeah. Check out the FCS college football experience. We got you covered on that.
Yeah. So I like him coming in. I don't know what he's gonna do at Big Ten, but I like it, you know. This is definitely a letdown spot. And Minnesota pulls off games like this sometimes.
Well, if you're telling me to search for the upset we're not seeing,
yeah,
I actually think it's here. I
got one further down the road, but I like this one too.
I'm guessing Champaign, but I'm still so I got them 4-1 here. You got them 5-0.
Yeah, they're beating Minnesota.
Then they go to Seattle to take on Washington. See, this is what I mean by their road schedule. I have Washington not making a bowl this year.
Yeah, Washington got crushed by the draft. Just like Michigan did.
In the portal. He took the whole damn team with him to Alabama. So like they only had I can't recall if it was 2 players or 2% of the roster.
Yeah, this is gonna be a shell of the team that went to the championship game last year by far.
And I question the hire for Fish a little bit. They hired Fish from Arizona, and I kind of think he kind of got lightning in a bottle. I would have liked to seen a bigger sample size. So I think Michigan's going to put it all Washington there in Seattle.
I do too. As much as I like to get into the narrative of the revenge spot, they're coming back into Washington. This isn't the same Washington team. It's just not. There's just
no one is on that team from a year ago.
Yeah.
So unfortunately, that takes away a little bit of the luster of the game. They got a bye week on October 12th. Then they're at Illinois. Remember a couple of years ago, I thought Illinois got completely hosed.
Yes.
For Brett Bielema, you know, he went off in the post game show as he should have, because I thought they got hosed. But the thing is this, man, Illinois is not that. They, you know, after that year, they switched. They hired UTSA's offensive coordinator, and they kind of became a passing team. I just did the Illinois preview, was kind of puzzled by the amount of like the passes they threw last year, but also the lack of commitment to the run. I do think it's sneaky. This is to me, if you're searching for the one you're not seeing, I would lean with this one, and then Minnesota would be second. But I got Michigan still winning in Champaign here.
It's a trap game by far, sure, certainly, especially with Sparty up right behind us. You know, definitely a look ahead spot for the rivalry game. Even though Illinois is probably a better team than Michigan State, but in Champaign off the bye, it's just hard to get there with Illinois winning the game outright. They just don't have the talent that Michigan has. And it's going to be a fight. It's going to be a rock fight for sure. It's going to get them ready for the Sparty game. But I still have them. I still have them undefeated at this point. They're going to win this game in Illinois.
Then they are home to Michigan State the very next week. Obviously, Jonathan Smith in year one. Love the hire of Jonathan Smith. Aiden Childs, I think, will be a quarterback also that everyone will be raving about at this time at the end of next season. But it's still year one. It's, you know, I'm still mad that I lost money on that goddamn punter a couple years ago.
That was
I had Michigan
absolutely
absolutely ridiculous. But I got Sparty getting beat down here by Michigan in the big house. You?
Oh yeah, it's in Michigan. This is going to be gross. It's a rivalry. Anything can happen, of course, but it's too early for Michigan State to be competing in this series. Michigan's going to dominate them.
Yeah, Tony's saying if Michigan played in the SEC, they'd have 3 to 4 losses every season. Not last year.
Yeah, not last year.
They would not have last year. If anything, they played. I thought Michigan played terrible against Alabama, and they still won.
Yeah, that's for sure. But you know, I mean, SEC's SEC, Big Ten's Big Ten. The Big Ten plays the way they have to versus their opponents. I'm sure they would adapt and change their style if they were in the SEC. People don't act like that.
When's the last time an SEC team played in cold weather? I want to say it was Mississippi State and like
That's
the
what I'm
fucking
saying.
Independence Bowl in like 2000 against Texas A&M in the snow.
Yeah,
Besides that, you know what I mean? So I think it goes both ways.
for sure.
After this, this is the biggest game here. The Oregon Ducks, Dan Lanning come into the big house.
Yeah.
Look, here's what I'll say. Between Texas and Oregon, they're going to get one. I don't know who it's going to be, but they're going to get one of those two. So it's because I gave that loss to Texas, they get Oregon on November 2nd.
Wow.
Fascinated by this game.
Yeah, it's going to be a great game. It's
Yeah.
going to be huge. I have them 8-0 coming into this game. So, this will be a big noon kickoff and all that whole bullshit, game day and all that. Pat McAfee will fucking read back a field goal. But Oregon's going to be fucking loaded this year. They're going to win the Big Ten. They got Gabriel. They're reloading. This is going to be their statement. This is their first loss. Oregon wins this game.
I could see it. I could see it where they beat Texas and lose to Oregon.
Yeah.
I think
that's why I'm beating Texas, losing to Oregon.
To me, and I'll make my point at the end, but all they have to do is just take care of business in like their home games to me, and they should be home. After that, they go to Bloomington. Kurt Signetti bringing in the whole damn. I just dropped the Indiana preview. Go listen to it. Indiana just brought in. They just took the entire James Madison team and said, "Hey, come over here." So you're taking on JMU. JMU is good, especially on the line of scrimmage. Still, I mean, maybe if they beat Oregon, this could be slippery. This could be slippery if they beat Oregon and they're dancing on the ceiling like fucking Lionel Richie, right? This could be a sneaky spot then, but I got them beating Indiana.
This was the upset I was talking about.
Woo-hoo-hoo-hoo.
Not Minnesota, not Illinois, although both of them will give them a gig. Indiana historically gives Michigan
They do.
a very tough time.
Yes.
This is always a game somehow, some way. And I love how it's it's in Indiana, right? It's in Bloomington. Remember Kurt Signetti at the basketball game this year when he goes, what was his quote? He goes, "I'm super fired up about this opportunity. I've never taken a backseat to anybody," to quote, "Don't plan on starting now. Purdue sucks, but so does Michigan." He goes, "But so does Michigan and Ohio State. Go IU."
He's never had a losing season as a head coach.
I know. I love him. So good luck. I like this. Give me Signetti. Give me the fucking rivalry. They always play it up. This is my upset right here. Back-to-back losses for Michigan. And they'll be licking their wounds after Oregon. Yeah, they want to bounce back, but sometimes that goes the other way, Sometimes they get deflated. They see that undefeated season. It won't matter. And then they have that bye week, and then they can heal themselves in the bye week.
And may the Schwartz be with you.
Go on, you.
What a world. What a
Let's go. I love that play. If they get Oregon, I can see it.
Yeah.
Then they get a bye week on the 16th of November, and then they host Northwestern, who I expect a lot of aggression from Northwestern. Right. And then they're at Ohio State for the game. Where you at with this Ohio State play? Because let me tell you this: if they doesn't, I love this. I love this rivalry. But if Day doesn't win this, if he goes 11-1, he better win the national championship, because that's the only way he's back next year.
I know. I love. I do. Listen, Ohio State's all in, like you said, all year at the transfer portal. They look loaded. But Michigan has dominated them the last 3 years, and they've dominated them on the line of scrimmage. And I love how much it's in Day's head, and how he freaks out. And he starts screaming at elderly Lou Holtz for calling him soft, But so if it happens again that way, it's going to be a disaster. I'll tell you that much.
And Lou Holtz was correct. And
I don't get bring the head cold,
but they're counting down 7-6-5.
That was his response to Ryan Day. Ryan Day calling him out.
Tell Noah, who's coming after me about his fucking Hoosier stats. Late season Indiana Michigan games I'm talking about. They had played them historically competitive.
Well, I remember that one bullshit one with the quarterback sneak at the 1 yard line.
Absolutely.
But Jim Harbaugh said it best about Ryan Day.
Sometimes people that are standing on third base think they hit a triple. Yeah, but they didn't.
But they didn't.
Says the son of a coach. Anyway, I love Jim Harbaugh, but he's great.
I want to get to Ann Arbor and have one of those Jack Harbaugh burgers at that spot.
Yes.
You got to beat Ohio State again?
Even though it is the senior sweep coming in Thanksgiving weekend, as Noah points out, in no way will our seniors avoid the sweep season. I have Ohio State winning this game in Columbus. I mean, this is 3 years in the making.
I think it's the
Ben's
year
game.
too.
Yeah,
I think it's the year they get it. The pressure is too high.
But
I'll say this.
Yeah.
So that would put me at still on the over with 2 losses. To me, just throw out the Ohio State game. Just throw that out. If you win it, cool. You're playing with house money, in my opinion, right? Like, you handle home as long as you like with Texas, USC, and Oregon. You just go 2-1 in that stretch.
Yeah,
you're in the playoffs, in my opinion. You could even lose to Indiana, and you're in the playoffs. You know
I have them at 9-3, and that's with a lost Indiana.
Do you have a lean then? You're right on the number there. Which way would you lean?
So that's a push. If I was to lean to play it, I mean, I'd lean over, especially if you're getting the plus money on it. Just because obviously Indiana's a game they can win.
For them to lose 4, for them to lose 4, they would have to lose 2 games, I believe, at the Big House. Which, I mean, Texas and Oregon could be those 2 at Ohio State, but then you have to they have to get upset.
Yeah,
I think if they lose to Oregon, they're going to beat Indiana the next week.
Between Texas, Oregon, and USC.
Yeah, I lean over. I lean over here.
I don't see more than 2 losses there. I certainly don't see them losing all 3.
Yeah.
I would lean over. I have them at 9, but like I think you hit upon it. The proper play is for them to make the playoffs. So plus 110.
Yeah. Plus 115 to make the playoffs. Yes. Yeah. So you might as well just play that as opposed to. Because the 9, you could end up just getting your money back. You know what I mean? Like CJ has them going 9-3. I got them going 10-2, but it's plus 115 on the over 9. Well, why not just take them to just make the 12-team playoff? Because if they go 9-3, you're not going to leave the defending champ off.
No,
so you have a free loss then essentially at plus 115. I think that's the play you play. Now I will say this, man. We've previewed the entire SEC. I've previewed the entire Mountain West. And because these goddamn conferences are so huge, I've done some other preview episodes with SGP too. That you're not getting the best 2 teams in the conference in the championship game. You're gonna laugh at this. Do you know what I think the championship game is gonna be?
What's gonna be?
I think it's gonna be Ohio State and Iowa. Iowa's schedule's great, man. So
listen, Iowa's defense is what they are, and
it could be
they
Oregon.
Win.
Yeah.
And they win. I mean, they're not pleasing, but they win games in their style of play.
Well, with them having 18 teams, you're gonna have. I don't know how the hell they're gonna decide their tiebreakers.
All right,
because you look at Iowa, they're only going to be dogs at Ohio State. They're going to be favored in every other game. And you're just like, damn, they have returned so much on the defensive side of the ball. They got like 6 and 7 year seniors on the defensive side of the ball. They got a new offensive coordinator. Now, I think Michigan was going to be a better team than Iowa, but Michigan might have 2 losses in conference. It could be Oregon and Ohio State, and that would disqualify them from potentially getting there. Well, I don't know. It would come down to tiebreakers. It would come down to a bunch of tiebreakers, but also Oregon might only have 1 loss. So it's not going to be what you think, though. I think a lot of people think we might get this Michigan-Ohio State rematch the next week. I don't think it will happen. I think the winner of that Ohio State-Michigan game probably plays in the championship game, but I think it's a decent shot. It's against Iowa or Oregon. So,
sure.
That's why I don't think you play the plus. I mean, the plus 600. I guess the odds are so good, you might as well.
Nah, I don't like the Big Ten championship for sure.
Yeah,
I don't like that at all. It's too much to navigate, like you were saying.
Yeah, like a lot of hope on the tiebreakers too. They haven't even released the tiebreaker scenario yet with this 18-team conference. I don't even know how. Yeah, so you're flying blind if you take that action.
Mm-hmm.
But we both go over. I feel all right about it. I know you were 9-3, but you still lean over.
I lean over. I like the push, but like with the playoffs, I think they're going to be just fine. the question marks, I'm not too concerned about him. Quarterback is one. Sherrone Moore, I'm less concerned, but he's gonna stick to the plan. He's gonna run the ball even more. And I love Donovan Edwards.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people think like Noah here. Do you think they'll play each other 2 weeks in a row? I think that's barely ever going to happen.
Yeah.
With an 18-team conference, it's just not going to happen that much. You know what I mean? Like it's too many teams. There will be too much carnage. So I don't think that will happen. And a lot of people have worried about that. I would be surprised. How many times did Texas and Oklahoma play each other in the Big 12 championship? I think I only recall one time. Right. As far as when I know they had the old division thing, but since they became a 10-team conference, I think it only happened once.
Because Oklahoma State was always bastard.
That's what I'm saying. And that was in a 10-team conferance. You know what I mean? Like this is 18 fucking teams. You're never going to see it. I think like once every 15 years, you're going to have that maybe. Anyway, I feel decent about it. Would you lock this one up? You're going to bet this one personally?
I'll bet the playoff one. I'll lock that up. I'm not betting it over or under. Since I have a 9 a push, it's not worth a play. But to make the playoffs at plus 115, I like that a lot.
Yeah. I'm with you. I'm gonna play it too. Folks, that's it. We talk blue. We talk blue. Go get a burger. Go get a Jack Harbaugh special. Give CJ Sullivan a follow on Twitter at CJ_Sullivan_. Let the bet detective know whether you think he's full of shit or not. All right. Also, check out the Bottom Line Bombs podcast. Highly recommend that. It's a year-round podcast. They're talking, whatever the action is. What did you guys cover this week?
Talking it all. Yeah, put some soccer. But right now, what the season is, anything to stop us from getting into baseball. Because that baseball just drains my account. Love baseball, but it's very hard to figure out. Right now, I got some Euros, even some Wimbledon plays, and some Copa Americas, and the road to 10 million, which is going strong.
There you go. I'm on Twitter, the Colby D. Check out the college football experience. Obviously, we're previewing every single team, so you're going to want to know about Indiana and Illinois, which are on the schedule. Those are already out. We got the rest coming soon, and obviously Texas is out, Fresno State's out. Go check them out, folks. Also check out the FCS College Football Experience and the Stadium Heads podcast with myself and Michael Barker, aka College Football Campus Tour. We broke down all the Big Ten stadiums, what makes them so great. Obviously, adding those new schools to become maybe the best stadium conference, in my opinion, in college football. So check out the Stadium Heads. Also check out the summer CFL gambling podcast. All right. Check out that. Check out the sports gambling podcast. And until next time, folks, ride that over. Take it to make the playoffs. This is the college football experience, Michigan Wolverine style. You better start thinking about yours. And we out of here. Run, shoot.